Hello everyone and welcome back to the 343 Football Podcast. It's your host Jaffa, and joining me again is the wonderful supporting cast of Ali,
Hi.
Dawood,
Yep.
and Qudama.
Hello.
Now, over the last couple of podcasts, it's mainly been club football. There's been a lot of hectic fixtures. It's going to be a bit of a slower one this week with the international break. And we're not going to dive too much into the results, the same what happened on last week. On brand for England, comfortably beat the Irish, couldn't beat the quality team in Belgium. Off brand for Scotland, qualified for an international tournament for the first time in 20 years. I think the last time they were at an international tournament, Michael Owen hadn't even won his Ballon d'Or yet. So it has been quite some time for them. And we've also got the full fixture list is now complete for the Euro 2020 group stage, so we'll talk about that at some point. But given that it's International Week, we're just going to take it a little bit more of a trip down memory lane for, the World Cups we've all seen and the Euros and international tournaments. I think the first one that we might want to dive into today is I want to get your takes on who is the best international team and why. And when I say best, you can talk about current if you like, that's not a problem. But I'm also interested in just kind of your historical perception of the best international team. And I'll come to you first, Ali, on this one. Now, in over the years watching international football, which team would you say that's it? They are the best. They are the bee's knees.
Watching it and obviously hearing about it's two different things. I would go with Spain, but I think Brazil between 1994 and 2002 is the best.
Yeah, I mean, I'll press you on Spain because I'm sure that's probably the team you've watched more, considering Brazil is more like the folklore, isn't it, of football? In terms of Spain, why are they the best? What is it about them that you really like?
It was dominations for 4 years.
Which Spain though? Which Spain side?
2008 to 2012. Whichever Spain side, you filthy animal.
Yeah.
2008, 2012, that's unprecedented, man. I mean, how many other teams have actually won that many trophies back-to-back internationally?
Is it true that they are the only team to have won World Cup Euros consecutively? No other nation has done that.
Not that I know of, no.
I don't
Only
believe
Spain's
so,
done that.
But there was when you talk about the Spain 28 to 20, so it's not a static team with the same style across the whole way, right? Because, well, for one, they had a different manager in 2008 with Luis Aragonés, and then Del Bosque took over, didn't he? And then won the World Cup, and then the next Euros himself.
Yeah, of course. It's just not only that, though. If you look at the actual quality within the team, there is in midfield Busquets, you had Alonso, you had Iniesta, you had Xavi, you had Mikel Arteta, which could have broken into the team at a time as well.
I don't remember Arteta much in the Spanish colours, I'm not going to lie.
No, but he couldn't break into it for that reason.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
For the quality they had, he couldn't even break into it.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. I think it was like, I don't know if it's happened throughout history before, but it was almost like what you see now in Germany with Bayern Munich, where a lot of the German national team are also on Bayern Munich. It was the first model for that, where the team was just dominated by two of the Spanish giants in Barcelona and Real Madrid. And a lot of people were saying, is that the reason behind their success, where a lot of the players that played internationally would also go back on the same plane together and play week in, week out with each other. So that chemistry was there. You could see it. They were like playing on a different wavelength to everyone else in those international tournaments. It almost looked like a club team playing at international football.
Yeah, they were way too comfortable with each other when they compared with other national teams.
Yeah, because it's one thing to talk about the bulk of it being Barcelona and Real Madrid, but it was actually the Barca and Real Madrid players that would work so well together as well in international duty. And the funny thing is they had the feistiest derbies as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So how could they put that to one side and do the best for the country is pretty interesting, especially when you consider that Barcelona and their relationship to Spain isn't so strong, with the whole Catalan history.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting that didn't play a part as well.
Yeah. And I think another big point is Spain's reserve team and subs bench were all first team players for their respective clubs, and they could easily have slotted into England's first team. Easily, could replace every single player, bar a few. I think at the time Wayne Rooney. Did he break his metatarsal in that tournament in 2008?
I think every England striker broke their metatarsal before a World Cup.
I think that's 2006.
I think that's a rite of passage for an England striker. If the World Cup's coming up, you break any metatarsal.
Would you have Iniesta over Steven Gerrard or Xavi over Steven Gerrard?
I think that midfield three was the best midfield of all time.
Yeah, Spanish midfield three had to stick together.
Xavi, Iniesta and
Busquets.
Okay, Busquets, yeah.
Fabregas is another one.
Yeah,
Do you understand what I'm on about?
But he was
he
monstrous
played
in a Spain shirt, Fabregas, yeah.
But it wasn't just like the individual quality of the team. Like their style of play at the time, tiki-taka, it was dominating the headlines. No one knew how to counter it. Teams were just being suffocated. And that was also another byproduct of having that club
I mean,
chemistry come through.
when you talk about the style, though, do you guys not think that they were a bit boring? Spain, yes, they were the best, but could you also fairly attribute them as
There's
a
a lot
boring
of
team?
1-0 wins. Yeah, I do agree with that. What I
So-
actually wanted to put across is, could Guardiola have something to do with that? Because straight after Spain won, Germany won a World Cup.
Yeah, that's true.
Then look how well England did in 2018 when they
But
competed. when Guardiola
stylistically,
was there.
Germany weren't the same as Spain, were they? It didn't really feel like it's possession
No,
oriented.
but I
No,
think
yeah.
Germany evolved a bit more though. Do you not
Yeah.
think that?
No, I do. I think to say that Guardiola, like when you talk about tiki-taka, Guardiola himself isn't a static style, is it? Because the football he played at Barcelona and the football he played at Bayern and Man City, there's a lot of differences. Sorry,
Yeah.
a lot of intricate differences on that one. So I don't really think that. I agree with what you're saying. Like, could be the Guardiola effect, but he's been in England for some time now, and the England national team, they haven't had their moment.
Well, first semi-final.
Semi-finals, yeah.
I don't know.
But
I don't know how much we
It,
can
it
attribute
really
that to
wasn't.
Guardiola.
I think when you say first semi-final, but they really didn't play a Guardiola team. 5 at the back, first of all,
Yeah, definitely.
heavily relying on set pieces, and Kane's cough being in the right place to
Don't
deflect
forget,
the shot.
Don't forget the love train. The love train was the only thing that was working for England at that time. It was perfect for corners.
Yeah.
I mean, after Harry Kane on corners in the Euros, I mean, semi-final.
Roy Hodgson, man.
Can we put some
Oh,
respect
yeah.
on? I'm just going to put some respect on Roy Hodgson's name right now before you slander him, because I like him as
The
a manager.
streets remember Roy
I'll-
Hodgson.
Now continue
right?
with your Roy Hodgson
I like
slander.
him as a
yeah.
manager, but Roy Hodgson, who puts Kane on corners?
I don't know. I think there was
Gary
like,
Neville
yeah.
had a part of that. You do know that.
Yeah.
Your beautiful Gary Neville, which you
did
love so
Stuart
much.
Pearce.
The thing is, though,
Look.
you can't question Hodgson because he's just played against Bielsa, who everyone's been phoning over the last few weeks. 4-1, easy as. This is the Hodgson, mate. He thinks he wants to lure you into a trap. I think he's boring, and then he comes out with a 4-1 win. I would take Hodgson at Newcastle tomorrow.
Well, yeah. I mean, Steve Bruce
Really?
is the one he's replacing. I mean, I'd take Mike Ashley in the dugout just to see it.
He definitely has more of an exotic past compared to all the bland,
Yeah.
the championship
Yeah,
teams. that
like
people
Hodgson
go
is very
off.
multicultural and multilingual, isn't he? He's not your typical Englishman, I wouldn't say.
No, he's
Yeah.
not.
He's outlasted like even that circle of roundabout managers that came about in the noughties and like the late 90s with Sam Allardyce, Pulis, Kirbishley and stuff. He was there before them, and
Yeah.
it shows that he wasn't just like bland English manager because he's outlasted them. Shows that he's got that ability to adapt, and he's the oldest manager in the top 5 leagues.
Yeah,
That's
I
pretty
think
impressive.
record breaker in
73,
England
isn't
Premier
he,
League
or
at least.
something?
I think he was older. He's older now than Ferguson was in his
Jeez,
last days.
I
as
just
manager.
checked. He started his career, managerial career in 1976.
Yeah.
Do you not think you'd get bored? Where was the motivation to shout at?
The millions you get every year.
Well, yeah, but like shouting at the same group. Well, not the same group, but like in the same dressing room atmosphere, week in, week out. I think what a lot of managers do is have that little stint of like doing national team management where you get more breaks in between your tournament and stuff, and it's probably more of a secondment job.
It's a secondment.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like a flexi time
I
job.
don't-
Like
I don't want to think about football jobs being the same as real life jobs, but just taking it back to the international team, I'll give my answer because I do like the Spain answer, and that was a good chat. For me, it's France, and I'm not just talking about one day France because everyone knows that France's B team, C team, and D team could all probably perform respectively at the World Cup. The level of depth they have at the moment is ridiculous.
Which France team is this? Is this
But-
1998? Or
Not
is
just
this-
that period, 1998. You got the Michel Platini days as well, though. The Zidane days, Lilian Thuram. I feel like when you look at
Thierry
France,
Henry.
there's also
Okay.
entertainment value
He's a
because
cheater, man.
France can go from like everything is perfect and they're outplaying teams of the park to the most dramatic, shambolic team in the next tournament. Like, their 2002 World Cup performance was a bit of a disgrace. 2010 was definitely a disgrace
Yeah.
with the Dominic fallout. But for me, as a kid watching, you can't look at the way Thierry Henry and Zidane performed in the final shot without falling in love with football. Especially in, I don't know if anyone remembers how well they did at Euro 2004.
No,
Yeah.
man.
Where they had a very heartbreaking game against England, and when I say heartbreaking, I mean for the English because England were 1-0 up, and looking like they were going to win and claim a major victory over the French, and we all know how the kind of the dynamic between those two nations are as a whole, not just from football. And then Zidane pulls out an unbelievable bit of magic to bail them out. I think he set up the 2
Yeah,
goals.
he did. He
Yeah.
assisted one and scored the free kick,
Yeah,
didn't he?
and because he set Thierry Henry through for the penalty that he
Yeah,
took,
it was
I
2
believe,
bits
yeah.
of individual magic that just absolutely flipped the script in about 2-3 minutes.
Yeah.
It was. I remember watching that actually, and like still not really understanding what international football was all about. Just understanding that like something mad had happened when all the reactions on TV. But I think Zidane, I definitely agree with your point. He's in that like fold of players very unique, where you watch them and you fall in love with football. Like they're just so silky on the pitch. They like glide over the grass. You know, Zidane, Messi, Bergkamp, just Laudrup as well. In like clips I've seen with them, like there's just certain players that seem to have an effortless, like they don't put any effort in. It seems like they're not putting effort, but everything they do is just like has a magic. It's a, you know, because we're talking about France, a je ne sais quoi sort of thing, where like you can't explain it in like it's the stuff you wish you were able to do when you're playing football.
Effortlessly as well, looking effortlessly. That's one thing that you could never teach someone. Do you know what I mean?
I think his performance, remember his performance against Brazil in the 2006 World Cup? Probably the most dominant individual performance I've ever seen at international level.
I keep seeing the clips like where he dribbles past all the midfield and then sets up an over top ball, but obviously doesn't go through. But like all the time, he was just, you know, he was just like the number 10 for them.
The question is best team. And the 98 iteration was much better than the 2006 iteration, but I still felt a lot of ache for the 2006 team that didn't manage it. And you know, with the dramatic final, headbutt in Materazzi. Honestly, I think that is, by the way, I will tell you that the Zidane headbutt is probably the greatest World Cup moment when you talk about like not a goal.
I couldn't
believe you mentioned that.
You really think that?
Yeah,
and it shouldn't have been a red because the referee obviously saw some screen that showed a replay of him headbutting, or he didn't actually see it. So technically, he should have stayed on. He shouldn't have had a red.
I don't know.
No,
about
but
that.
I think
no
one's gonna say he didn't deserve to stay on.
Chest.
When I heard what he did, I kept replaying and be like, "Go on, son, go on."
I only felt that way after the fact when it came out what Materazzi said, but I mean, it's still, no matter what someone says to you on the pitch, you can't be in a final for your country's watching you. You've got all their expectations on your back, and then you go and let them down by having that. Like,
respect, man. He's protecting his family. He's protecting his family's name, man.
Because Zidane had already won it, and it was his last game as a professional. He was like, "Fuck this! I'm not having this guy saying this to me. I've won it. These are the lads. They might have a chance in 4 years' time, but I'm done. I'm going to show this guy."
I disagree.
I think he's a bit surprised, wasn't he, Materazzi? He said something in Italian, and then he's like, "Oh shit! Actually, he used to play in Juventus."
You know what? I actually wanted Italy to win that World Cup as well. So
why is that? Just like pizza that much?
Nah, I do like pizza. I just had some before I came. I was just a big fan of Francesco Totti when I was younger. I really rated the guy.
To be fair, those two teams had like, I feel like the Naughties in general just had so many like legends playing on the same team. Like the level of the top players wasn't as high as it is now, but you had a more even spread across different teams.
Did Totti do much in that World Cup though? Because to be honest, with the Italian team, I remember more like Andrea Pirlo, Gattuso, and Fabio Grosso than I remember what Totti contributed.
No, you're right. But I had a soft spot for Totti. I don't know why. I just did.
He
stayed with Roma, and I just really liked
Antonio Di Natale is the similar player to him as well.
No, I think the way we were just utilizing about Zidane before, I think you can do the same for Totti in terms of what he brought on the pitch. He definitely had that magical quality to him.
Yeah.
One of the clips I really like of Totti, and I don't know if anyone's seen it, it's actually after he retired, when he takes an absolute arrow of a free kick in like a Sunday league setup.
Oh, yeah.
I love that so much. You know what? I love seeing footballers in a context that we've experienced.
Yeah. 100%. Have you not seen Paul Scholes? I know you guys hate Manchester United, but have you not seen the Paul Scholes?
Which tree was
clips?
It that he hit? Which tree?
He's amazing, man. He still absolutely plays everybody out the park when he plays 5.
Did he try and fight Xabi Alonso? Got like cheesed off and got sent off for it or something? I don't know, man.
Allow that, man. We're talking about just general playing football.
Look, let's not talk about Manchester United. Nobody cares about Manchester United.
We'll give them.
Let's go back to international break.
Let's
talk about the best teams.
I do want to mention
another one.
Another one. You know how you're saying about that clip of Totti? Has anyone seen that clip of Zidane in training where he first joins Real Madrid, where he's absolutely schooling all the defenders with his touches?
What, in 2005 days?
No. When he came back as head
manager.
Yeah, and he's in training.
Wait a minute, you're not talking about where he plays against the juniors?
No. It's literally in training. It was a first team player. I can't remember who it was. I don't want to say it was Vinicius because I think it was before he joined. I think it might have been Marcelo or someone. And he's just like, again, looking effortless. Like it's like you say though, like just casual kickabout, seeing footballers doing their thing, especially a retired manager. It's always fun to see.
I think if he knew how much money he could have made if he stayed on for a couple more years, he probably would have.
So we've got two more answers. We need Qudama and Dowd's team. So I'll come to you, Qudama, first.
No, I think I agree with. I know Ali said Brazil, but I think it is Spain. It's just for me, international football is about trophies. Like sounds obvious, but in club football, you can have those like fun teams that you get to watch, and you have a soft spot for, like Ajax a few seasons ago in the Champions League, or like Lille, or not Lille, Montpellier when they won Ligue 1 and stuff. But in international football, only the winners really get remembered.
Right.
You don't really remember
I'll
who's...
explain that afterwards. I'll
Fair
let you
enough.
finish your
No.
topic and then I'll
But
get
let me explain
Go on.
first.
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying is, like, international football, does anyone really remember off the top of their head right now who was, like, the finalist in 94?
Yeah, I'm going to mention that right now.
Who won alongside... Go on, then.
Right, it was Brazil and Italy. Went
Fair
to
enough.
penalties.
I was going to say...
Roberto Baggio
Fair enough.
skied it,
Yeah.
right? So,
Famous moment. But
so let me remind you of this. Brazil 1994 win it, right? 1998 make the finals. Obviously, terrible incident happened with Ronaldo Nazario,
yeah.
right? So they lose the final to France. They come back as Hungry Lions, 2002 World Cup, beat Germany 2-0. Do you not think that's a better success story? Coming back down and going to win it
I think
yet
it's
again?
a close second for me, but I
Do you understand
genuinely
where I
think...
come from, though?
I think the way Spain went about their business, and like Jaff said at the start, like with different iterations and evolving the team, not just after they won the first time, and then when like the core like of that team hit their prime.
Yeah, but Brazil won the Copa America as well. You need to remember that's not just about the Euros.
That's
you
true.
You need to remember
That's
that.
true. But
You
I
know,
feel like
then you look at the quality.
I
Okay.
feel like the Copa America is not as competitive as the Euros.
Here's
mean-
here's the caveat though. When Brazil lost 7-1, how much damage did that one result do to their stature as a team?
Man, I'm not talking about that though. I'm talking about when Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Cafu, Roberto Carlos, Dida was in there.
Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about. I'm not.
But we're
talking.
we're
I'm not
talking
talking about Marcelo messing up or David Luiz thinking he's pride man for Brazil, and there's no Neymar. I'm talking
the
about.
second week in a row with Marcelo slander. This better not become a theme of the podcast. I'm telling you guys now.
Your boy's finished, man. He's done.
Very done and
No,
dusted.
but why I'm mentioning it is because we're talking about these teams as a whole, their overall records, and I really honestly believe that the 7-1 has put a massive dent in the way Brazil is viewed across the world.
Nah, I disagree again. It's like I was saying, trophies or everything in Brazil right now is still the most nation with World Cups, and that means something. Like going into a World Cup, no matter what state their squad is in, everyone expects
Yeah.
Brazil to do something to reach far. So yeah, the 7-1 was very damaging.
There's a different
And
aura around Brazil,
They did
isn't
do
it?
some. They did do
Yeah.
some damage control in the 2018 World Cup. They didn't perform that badly. Neymar had a decent tournament, but again,
Man,
just
he
this-
got in touch with
yeah.
Tom Daly. He just kept on diving, man. That's all I'm saying about 2018 World
Nah,
Cup.
but see, I
Coutinho
think
lit that up.
I know, but
It was a Neymar.
when you're getting hacked and kicked and stuff, I think it's fair. I mean, he's one of the most fouled players in like the top 5 leagues statistically,
So
and
is
he has
Jack
to take the
Grealish,
tumble.
he doesn't do that.
I don't know. Jack Grealish has taken some tumbles I've seen like in the Premier League.
I haven't seen as much as Neymar does.
Yeah, maybe
Man, you
not
might have
as
to get a
Neymar.
swimming pool for him.
Yeah, fair enough. But Neymar's better, so he's allowed.
Fair enough.
All right, Dowd, your selection for this one?
It's gonna be a boring selection if you guys have already picked my team. I think it's a Spain 2008.
Spain again. No love for the
2010,
Germans. No one mentioning them.
2012.
Yeah, we don't
No,
like the Germans.
just look at the squad depth, man. Like the 2008 squad was amazing. Like honestly, their reserve team, I would have every single one over the England team
Which
for
was Paul
2008.
Scholes, though.
Like we had Emil Heskey up front, man. Oh, Emil Heskey.
No, that's
bro.
harsh, man. Heskey was
No,
class in
okay,
his day still.
Heskey was good, right? Okay, but Darren Bent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At that
Gabi-
time, he had a 24-goal season for the
Gabi
Macrons, I
Ag-
believe.
Gabi
Yeah, we don't talk about
Agban-Laho. Come on, man, lads.
Agban Lahore.
Yeah, you're
Look.
comparing England
Look,
to
These
listen.
guys,
Spain at the wrong
these guys
time.
were bit pod caps as well.
Yeah,
Listen,
exactly.
They went to
England didn't
permanent
make a
fixtures.
Euro 2008. Let's not even talk about England. We're talking about the greatest teams ever,
No,
right?
but like England.
No, but he's saying he'd have them over England, which is obvious though. I think
Yeah.
'cause at
England
that point
had-
in time, England was very like
no,
the
England-
golden generation started to
no,
fade
that
out,
was the
phase out.
last. That was the last showing of the golden generation. David Beckham, Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard, Wayne Rooney, Michael Carrick was playing. He was really good. Owen Hargreaves was really good at the time. I mean, Theo Walcott at the time was playing amazing football for Arsenal. He was like, he was in the groove of things. I mean, we had John Terry in the back. We had Ashley Cole.
Yeah.
What Rio Ferdinand? Like,
England's
so-
never
so-
been about a shortcoming of talent. It never
Yeah.
has been.
and even then, half of these players weren't first team regulars that we had in the English
So you're
first
saying
team.
out of that English squad, you'd have none of them in the Spanish squad?
No, I would have probably obviously the ones I've mentioned.
You mentioned half the squad.
Did you mention Paul Scholes, by the way?
You can't win with half the squad.
No, but I'm saying is in that squad that you've just mentioned, that's the same tournament that Spain wins the World Cup. So which of the English players would you have in the Spanish team then? Or you're saying you wouldn't have any of them?
No, I wouldn't have. I would probably. I'll probably still stick with the ones I've mentioned of the golden generation. You know, like the Lampard,
Really?
you know, Steven Gerrard.
You'd have
Wayne
Lampard and
Rooney.
Gerrard
I'd tell you someone who
over
I'd
Xavi
put
and Iniesta and Busquets.
I would have them in the squad. I probably wouldn't start them.
There's not enough space for them though.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, though. Like,
Yeah.
even the reserve squad, I would love to have for England, man. They would be starting up,
Yeah.
and I think the biggest difference is when we saw the English teams and what kind of clubs they were playing at and what type of football they were playing. It was very rigid football. It wasn't the same, man. And a lot of the players that the Spain team could, slot in, they knew what they were playing with and how to play that tactical setup.
Yeah.
Whereas, it wasn't the same. It was like people on a different wavelength. And when you've got David Villa, Fernando Torres, Pedro Llorente was at the time was really good.
Yeah.
He was a really good option to change up how Spain played. It was just
Was David Silva part of the World Cup squad as well?
Yeah, he
no?
was.
Yeah.
I believe
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did want to mention one point. You said, do you not think they were boring? I think right now, tiki-taka is boring. But at the time, and especially for us in our 20s, we'd never seen like the first iterations of like total football, as it were, with Johan Cruyff and his evolution and like that he made at Barcelona. I think back in 2010, seeing a team play like that and suffocate their opponent, high technical ability, like triangles and all those cliches and playing in
Yeah.
between the lines, I think it was really, really, really exciting to
I
watch.
think the main point is the word suffocate. It's horrible to watch when you suffocate somebody
Not if
or
it's your team.
suffocate something.
Yeah.
Not that I've ever
And
seen
it's long,
Newcastle do it.
And it's tireless, and it's very calculated. Yeah, that's what tiki-taka
Yeah,
football
I remember
was.
once watching a Spain match where they were at the height of that, and I was thinking, I'm going to watch when the opposition have the ball, and I'm going to try and see how did they actually lose it. And it happened so quickly that I couldn't even make the analysis in my head. Like, I was like, okay, what? Spain have got it again. Spain have got it again, and it was
Yeah.
just kind of like that.
The nearest thing for me was, Argentina 2006, where they had 56 passes before they
for the
scored.
Cambiasso goal.
And Riquelme.
Now, touching on that, I want to keep you on that thought because the next topic is going to be our favourite World Cup moment. So just finish that one and then we'll go into the favourite World Cup moment.
I wouldn't say that was my favourite World Cup moment. And it depends. What do you mean? The one that you've enjoyed the most?
Yeah,
or?
yeah. Just it could be any World Cup that you've seen personally, or
It's
even
your
just
own criteria.
went back and watched the YouTube footage of. It doesn't really matter to me, but anyone who wants to go,
There's
tell us your favourite World Cup
there's
moment.
quite a lot. Like obviously that rings true in my head on that Argentina team.
Yeah.
And the way they used to play. And that was a bit tiki-taka. They used to suffocate their teams a lot, man. They used to have loads of ball possession. Even the 7-1 Germany-Brazil, I watched that. I was so amazed. For me, it's actually two. It's actually the last World Cup. I think we were all together and we were watching it. And when Kieran Trippier scored the free kick, and I've never had jubilation like that ever. The
short
elation.
lasting though. Short lasting.
Yeah, it was short lasting. But the other thing was, I remember watching the England and Portugal quarterfinals in 2004. I remember watching it with my dad, and my dad's not from this country, but he was so entwined with England at the time, and obviously all I knew was to watch England. And I remember watching when obviously Wayne Rooney came off with the red card because he stamped on Ronaldo and the Ronaldo wink.
That's World Cup 2006.
Yeah, man.
Oh, sorry.
People confuse the two, and sometimes I forget as well.
I
Sorry.
think they were both very eventful games, isn't it? Because the 2004 one is the one that went to extra time and Golden Goal decided it, right?
Yeah.
That was the one?
No, so I'm talking about the one where he had the wink.
No, see,
and then they lost in
That was
penalties.
my favourite moment, man. The wink. You
Yeah.
can't beat that wink, though.
Well, it was the wink, and I was so peed off. Obviously,
I loved it.
Yeah, and then they lost again in penalties, and I was so engrossed into the TV, and then I looked behind. My dad's in tears. I was like, "What?"
As a Manchester United
I
fan,
was
how do
like-
you feel?
Yeah, it was a weird feeling. Like I'm
the
not
best
gonna lie.
the best thing that happened because we were school kids at the time, and I remember on mini clip games they made a game out of that. I don't know if anyone played it.
Yeah.
No.
Where you're Rooney and you're chasing Ronaldo, and it's like the progression gets harder and
Wow.
harder.
Those old flash games.
Yeah.
I played, like
That
the
was
Zidane
fun, yeah.
headbutt for Materazzi.
I remember
Yeah.
in IT lessons when you focused on the project and some kid pulled out the proxy site, and then that's everyone was playing that game when the teacher was busy doing
Yeah,
something
right.
else.
Exactly,
And-
man.
Yeah.
Memories back then.
I
No,
wonder
but
what they do now. What
that
do
was
the
like
kids
the
do
height
now?
of that England-Portugal rivalry now, and like there's still even like remnants of it. Even like it's not as high as it was, but that era of football definitely like there was almost a new
Yeah.
rivalry.
For me,
starting up.
my favourite moment, we've touched on the worst moment of that game in the Zidane red card in 2006, but his performance against Brazil, not in the, I think it was the quarter-final, France against Brazil, where Zidane just absolutely ran the show, like creativity in the middle, flicks and tricks.
Yeah.
And that was for me favourite moment, because to see a player at his peak, his last ever few games, and he was still bossing everyone who was in their prime and really young. That is one of the more memorable World Cup performances. I don't know if anyone can top that performance-wise or moment-wise, but Zidane for me in the 2006 against Brazil in the quarterfinal. Do yourself a favour and watch the highlights of that on YouTube when you can.
Oh, I've seen it many a
I've
time.
seen it.
I've seen it
Yeah.
many a time, and that is the most dominant individual performance anyone can
Yeah.
ever have in an international
Plus the
tournament.
aesthetic of the World Cup ball back then. I don't know.
Yeah.
I really loved the
Really liked
2006
it
World
as
Cup
well,
ball.
yeah.
No, there was just something different about Zidane. I'm telling you, like, there's a specific category of players that I still don't know how to describe. And like, I wouldn't even like. It's not just about talent and like ability. Like Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't. Maybe he did when he was younger and he was doing all his tricks, but there's just, I don't know, like technical players, technical wizards that just.
Luis Figo's up there as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like they have that certain aura about them. So you just can't explain it.
yeah.
It's weird.
Exactly, there's an aura. That's what it is. Like I remember, like there was a period of time where I was literally just watching Dennis Bergkamp first touch compilations on YouTube. I was like in awe of how he manages to bring a ball down from the sky, and like you just think like, how can anyone do that so effortlessly, looking like they're not even breaking a sweat?
Loki, anybody wants to be popular on YouTube, second touch compilation.
Nah, but for me, the best World Cup moment or favorite, without a shadow of a doubt, has to be the 7-1.
7-1.
To see
Really?
the
Ah.
absolute annihilation,
Yeah.
destruction, and just murder of a national team in their own country. Like, you're hosting the World Cup, that is in itself a massive privilege. All eyes are on your country, on your team.
Yeah.
And then here come these German lads, not giving an absolute flying fuck and decimating you. Everyone's seeing like these almost pantomime opera style shots of the crowd in tears,
Oh,
kids
lovely.
clutching their parents, what is going on. And I remember watching the game because I was actually watching it in like, abroad, like in those cafes, those like just for guys, like shisha bars or whatever.
Just for
And
guys.
anytime I've been, they're always like rowdy, lively. You can't really even hear your mate next to you on the table. And I remember like we turned up early because we're like, guys, like this is a massive game. We'll have to turn up early, get a table next to the good TVs because half of them are like dodgy with like the static showing. And as soon as the goals started coming in, silence. Everyone couldn't believe what they were seeing because Brazil actually has like a really popular following abroad for like because of their success.
Yeah.
And everyone just couldn't believe what I was doing. And there I was, like one of the few people that was just wanted more, like just
Yeah.
more. How high can this go?
I was thinking exactly the same thing. I kept shouting at my dad. My dad went upstairs for like, I don't know, 10 minutes. I was like, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0. I was like, you need to come down. You need to watch this.
I wanted 10. I wanted 15,
I wanted
man.
10. I can't believe they came out and said they should have stopped after 5. Did you hear that from the manager? They were disrespectful and they
I
shouldn't.
think they did though, didn't they? In the second half, they kind of like
They-
took their foot off the pedal.
Yeah, they
man.
definitely did.
It was so apparent. But I think they should have went up to 10.
Nah.
100%. I don't know why they stopped.
It was a beautiful moment.
Bayern
for
Munich
me.
didn't stop this time, did they? When it came to
Exactly.
Barcelona.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I think it's more disrespectful
It's
to actually
slower.
stop. To be honest,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're not even worth the effort.
I agree.
You're not
100%.
even worth the effort of scoring a goal. But now that, without a doubt, I can't think of any World Cup moment that has like that level of entertainment, shock, and just utter disbelief.
Right.
It almost feels like it exists in a different universe. I
Yeah.
swear down there's.
Yeah, they
There
made
was
them look
something
like the Faroe
otherworldly
Islands.
about
They made
that,
them look like the Faroe Islands, I swear, man.
It's like the football equivalent of the Red Wedding to me. That
Yeah.
moment. There's nothing else I could think of like
Right.
that.
Well, my favourite World Cup moment is when David Beckham scored against Argentina in 2002. So from 1998 World Cup, like I said before, seeing him as low points with doing that silly thing with Diego Simeone, getting sent off, getting hated by the whole nation. And I was really young, I didn't know what the heck was going on. And then seeing him go against Argentina and scoring a penalty, which ended 1-0.
Yeah.
I remember him scoring a penalty and grabbing onto the shit.
It was a very
absolute pride.
redemptive moment
Yeah.
for him, wasn't it? Yeah.
That's what I love about football and
I'm
in the World
surprised
Cup.
You highlight that David Beckham moment, not the Euro qualifiers for 2004
That's
against
Well,
Greece.
we're talking about favourite World Cup moments, though.
No, we're talking about favourite
World Cup
international
moments,
moments.
sorry,
in
yeah,
general.
international.
No,
Yeah.
the question was favourite World Cup moment.
Oh,
It's
fair
specific
enough.
to World
Yeah.
Cup.
Yeah, so the qualifiers don't really count. No, yeah,
For a different tournament too, bro.
yeah. Sorry, man.
Come on, bro.
We can if you want.
All right,
But
let's,
like inside.
let's spin the conversation and take it somewhere else. The most heartbreaking moment in international football. Now, I'm going to tell you guys mine straight away. And it was when Ghana didn't progress past Uruguay in the 2010 World Cup.
Is this the Suarez?
Luis Suarez.
Yeah,
Now, I'm going to say from now that I actually...
Luis Suarez.
Thank you for that interlude. I didn't realize we had the creative licensing for that type of
There's
music.
a window out there if you want to
But,
get chucked out, mate. Carry on singing.
I actually back completely what Suarez did. And if you put me on the line for my country, I would do even worse than Suarez. I would handball it twice and just throw it out the stadium.
Oh my
Because
God.
I'm
Are
not
you
having
being
that ball going
serious?
in the goal.
Are you being serious?
Yes,
I agree.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh my
I hate him
God.
for it, and I really feel sorry for Ghana. That's why it's my heartbreaking moment. But I completely back his decision to do the handball on the line.
I don't back his decision.
Can we talk about Asamoah Gyan as well? Putting away the penalty perfectly in the penalty shootout, but absolutely bottling it.
and this-
When
the
come on, when
yeah, and-
Suarez, you could have had that striker suspended and you would win the game. And in the end, like the choke from Gyan, but because the whole theme of the World Cup was all about like Africa's progression as a continent. Sorry, South Africa with the Bafana goal with Chabalala at the beginning and the
Shabalala.
iconic commentary.
Yeah.
And you thought, okay, Ghana are the best placed team. They've probably got the most quality. Can they be the first African country to make it into the semi-final? And it just kind of ended like that. They were so close.
Yeah, the
You know-
Black Stars were very unlucky.
Yeah, that moment is actually the second one, because I had like when I was looking at the questions he sent out, I was like, that one definitely like came close to being my most heartbreaking moment. It's such an interesting moment as well, like in the history of the World Cup. I feel like it could almost be like an anthropological study into like how humans operate, because it's like you say, no one can blame him for what he did, but at the
Nah,
same time,
yeah.
everyone hates him for it.
Ah,
Like, and you expect that, like the fact that Gyan missed the penalty as well, and you expect, like, especially when you're like a kid and we're watching it as like teenagers, like you expect there needs to be a balance in the universe. Someone does something wrong, he gets punished for it, but no, he does the wrong thing, and he actually gets away with it.
He gets away with it and then keeps on biting people and being bloody racist to them
That's
as
what
well.
makes it so heartbreaking. Like, it just
Yeah.
everything worked out for the bad guy. Like, you know, we always say like everyone loves a pantomime villain, but at that moment, like
I
everyone
love it,
hated-
man. I enjoy that.
I
moment,
hate
man.
Suarez. I actually hate Suarez. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I would not do that. I wouldn't put my hand
For
on.
your country, you wouldn't
No,
do
I
that.
wouldn't do it.
I would definitely do
I
it.
Okay.
hell wouldn't do it.
So you're playing for your country. The ball is about to go into the net. Only you can stop it with your hand. What is your post-match interview that you didn't do it? How would you justify your
Just to
decision?
remember, you'll be a hero in your country.
If it works out.
What would you tell Jeff Shreves?
Nah, I think in the long run, being a hero in the country for the wrong reasons, like that wasn't a footballing reason. He's actually won on a foul that really shouldn't have happened, and could have been perfectly
But it's
prevented.
it's a completely a footballing reason.
Well,
The entire reason is football.
This is
why
the
he
big
did it.
thing now, isn't it? Like, oh, it's a professional foul. Like, do you know what I mean? It's part of the game. I don't know. There's levels and boundaries, and obviously the boundary for me is too
Wait,
far.
I get what
he
you're
could
saying.
do that, but
Broken.
Maradona can't do that for
Maradona
Argentina.
can't do that. He's a proper prick, man.
I was gonna say he wasn't gonna back Maradona if he's not gonna back Suarez.
I know he's a bigger prick for
I get
doing
what you're
that.
saying though. That like there's a
You
level
know,
of sportsmanship.
Henri did
that
that in the
needs to be
qualifiers
upheld.
against Ireland.
The
He did.
Maradona, by the way, the Maradona one is way worse because he didn't get punished for his, whereas Suarez did. It's just
No,
that
but
Gyan
Maradona
didn't capitalize.
keeps on coming out with he backs it up and he talks the shit about it as well.
Not his fault the referee didn't catch him cheating.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you might as well own it. Why would you come out and say, "Yeah, I regretted it," and then act all happy when
One
you
of the
reminisce of the World
biggest
Cup?
moments
I
in
love
history
Diego,
is
man. He's
defined.
great.
It's defined by a foul. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. It's for me. It's actual. You should be proud of how well you play football. The team
I get what
plays
you're saying.
football.
There's a level of sportsmanship that you as a professional
Do you
should
know what I mean? Like,
uphold.
your
for sure.
whole if they won the World Cup, you won the World Cup because of because of a handball that shouldn't have.
But let me
Did you
ask
see
you
his
this
other
yeah,
then.
goal?
well done.
Let me ask you this then.
Did he see his other goal in the 1986 World Cup?
Yeah, I did. It was quite good.
Right, but to ask you, okay, so I get what you're saying about the Suarez handball, but how different is it from, say, you're the centre back, the striker's through on goal, the only way you can stop him is by literally just like bare tackling him or something.
Now you know what it is. It was so apparent. Like sometimes like you have a natural reaction. Like, oh shit! Like I'm trying to stop everything. I saw that. I saw his eyes, man. It was insidious, man.
Of course it was apparent.
Suarez,
It was his only option. It was his only option. What else are you gonna say?
If a Ghanaian hated him in that moment, I thought, you know what, I could kind of see it. They must have hated Suarez with the way he celebrated the penalty miss. Do you remember in the
Oh my
tunnel?
god!
That's what I loved. I loved it so much.
Even more worse, man. Oh my god!
It was great.
No, I
I hate
actually,
him.
yeah, I hate him for doing it, but at the same time, I can't begrudge him.
I just
one-
wonder how many
one
dartboards with Suarez's face have been sold in Ghana. Like that.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine having the nation's hatred, one man?
I wonder
It
now,
would
even
be-
to this day, if he accidentally landed in Ghana by some miracle, like what would happen to him if he just walked down the streets?
Oh, it wouldn't end prettily.
You know, like how you get those creams if you've been bitten by a dog. There's probably one named after Suarez. I'm not even lying. I'm not even lying. The way
Don't disrespect the
he
guy, man. He's a
lashes
quality player.
people.
He is. he?
That was total bullshit ointment coming to a drugstore near you. So, any other heartbreaking moments, lads?
Yeah.
that you can think of?
Ronaldinho,
In the World Cup,
2002, the filthy guy he is.
lobbing seaman, the filthy guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. That
Yeah, that
Last
was.
World Cup, Croatia knocking England out because, like, to be honest, I'm not the biggest England fan. I'm much more a fan of my own club than I am the country that I live in. And I think a lot of people are, like, in England for some reason. There's not that much, like, patriotism when it comes to the national team. But something about that summer, like, everything was, like, the vibe was just right. And everyone, like, the weather was good.
We were playing good football.
We were playing good football. We were making it far. I know, like, no,
The love
let's
train
not look
was
at the
in
bracket.
Got the
Of
blue
course.
waistcoats out.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
Let's not look at the bracket
think
England
about
was
that
in.
though.
But
It was heartbreaking, but I don't think England had enough about them, and I think France would have obliterated them in the final too.
yeah, but so did Croatia. That's the thing that annoyed me. Croatia went to the World Cup final and played like absolute idiots. They were terrible, and people have come back. I said, oh, they weren't that bad. I've watched the highlights many times. Croatia were pathetic on the day.
Yeah, they
absolutely
were.
pathetic.
And I didn't think they had a better team than what we had against them. It was a
They
very
have a
even.
slightly
It
better
was,
team, I would
it
say.
was, I thought it was very even affair, to be honest. Especially how half the players that we had playing in that
Yeah.
tournament are playing now. Do you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think they've elevated, if
Yeah.
more.
But no, like, probably right. Like, France would have beaten us, but you know, when you're in a tournament, you think you start to believe, and anything can happen. So when,
Yeah.
like, the first goal went in, Trippier free kick, everyone was just like, you know, bouncing off the
I mean,
the
I
walls.
think England can have their own catalogue of heartbreaking World Cup moments. You've touched on the Ronaldinho
many.
free kick
Oh.
in 2002.
Many penalties.
Southgate penalty.
Lampard in 2010. Southgate was the Euros.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
yeah.
I was
Actually,
obsession
yeah.
with the Euros today.
I was.
We're talking about
sorry,
the World Cup.
I was so peed off with the Germany and England. Was it 4-1 at the end?
Yeah.
It should have been. It should have been a lot more respectable score. That was so over the line.
yeah.
Do you remember? I was sharing pictures on my phone all the time. Like, how did the referee not see this?
My favourite part is the Photoshop that makes like the line like a triangle to take the ball out of
The Germany version.
Yeah. Oh, goodness
You
me.
know how they like lines in it there.
But England in 2010, the 2010 World Cup, they're quite a poor side, and I feel like that was a fitting exit to the World Cup at that time.
Yeah.
You know, what was the group stage when the nation booed them and Rooney said "F off" on the cameras against Algeria?
Oh,
Yeah.
It wasn't
It
a
was
good
in
team.
Pretoria, wasn't it? I
And
remember.
then the
Yeah.
next
I mean,
tournament, they
to
didn't even
highlight the
qualify.
point, who scored in that 4-1? Matthew Upson. If Matthew Upson is the only person who can score against Germany, that team has, it's got problems.
And Lampard, there's just an asterisk next to it.
But we didn't play bad though. We didn't play bad. We shouldn't have lost 4-1. I'm not gonna lie.
I
Like
still think
that was
England
actually
would have lost.
that for me
Sorry, Ali?
was a low point.
England would have lost regardless. Let's
Yeah.
be honest.
Yeah, but it
Germany
should
were
have
too
been a
good.
lot more respectable.
Well, I don't know if you say that. Yeah, I've been lambasting them, but in football, that's not like that. If they make it 2-2, then you could have a momentum swing, and they could go into a
And then
night.
we lose the
don't-
penalties
I
most
don't think they
likely.
would have done that. Yeah, Germany would have took it by
Yeah.
the neck and just strangled England.
And it's not like
That's
England
the
would have
truth.
gone to the final or anything for sure. They're just not that nation.
But we'll never know.
Well, we can always predict, and the next segment is going to be the Euro 2020 predictions, because although the international break,
2021.
not
yeah.
everyone's cup of tea, it's in the middle of a pandemic at the moment, we finally got the full group stage for Euro 2020 set. So I'll just quickly go through group by group, and I know that there's with the 2020 format, third best placed team qualifies, but just talk me through who's going to be first and second in each group, really, rather than third place. So the first one, Group A, Turkey, Italy, Wales, and Switzerland. How's that one going to shape up?
Italy and Switzerland.
Italy and Switzerland.
I don't know. I would say Italy and Turkey.
Turkey, yeah, man. Turkey have got.
Although Switzerland, I agree, have been really impressive recently.
They
But I
could-
think
Italy will qualify, but it'll be between Turkey and Switzerland.
Yeah, but
for
the
second.
way Turkey have been developing their national team in the last
Yeah,
couple of
very
years. Have you seen that
And they've got-
documentary?
no, I haven't.
No love for Wales and Hal Robson Carnage, channeling the spirit of Johan Cruyff with the Cruyff turn.
Man,
Against
that was
Belgium.
lovely, that.
Yeah. That has to be the best goal by the most mediocre player ever.
And you have to remember, Turkey's the only team to beat France in the qualifiers as well, weren't they?
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
I believe so, yeah. I think they won 2-0 because Turkey have developed a bit
mean-
of a rep of getting clean sheets.
I mean,
they
yeah.
had an unbelievable
France,
defensive record.
I think there'll
just
be a
lost
dark
2-0
horse in that
against Finland
in the
as well.
tournament.
So
I can see them going maybe as far as the
I
quarters.
think, to be honest, the key match in that one will be Switzerland against Turkey. It'll be almost like a winner
Yeah.
takes all match. In that
Pretty
one.
much.
they
Yeah.
haven't had a bad run in the last 20 years, have they? They got into the 2002 quarterfinals,
Semi-finals.
semi-finals. Oh,
Although,
yeah, sorry.
what's it called? Italy are not immune to an embarrassing international tournament.
I don't
That
think
is also true.
they've got that much of a strong team.
No, but they have a strong core.
I hope that
that-
Zaniolo's back by the time the
Yeah.
tournament starts. He's
Yeah,
great.
but like he's not a Pirlo. He's not one of those legends that come on the scene. Like that.
Could
Absolutely.
it be the Sandro Tonali breakout tournament?
Ooh. Tonali and
Interesting.
Zaniolo. Oof. if they do half as good.
Italy have got a really good talent pool.
Yeah,
for
they
sure.
Yeah.
They do, and
Put some
like a lot.
respect on Italy's name. You were just saying before. Just
Yeah,
put respect
I
on
mean,
it.
so do we. Do you mean like it doesn't make
Yeah,
a difference?
but
if
England
none of the
always
players
flop.
I think they'll
become
scrape through
regulars.
that. Switzerland have like they've got a decent team and they had some
They've
good
got
performances.
they've got a decent span.
Played well
yeah.
against Germany, to be fair. I saw the highlights, but I don't know. I just feel like I kind of want Turkey to go through, so I'm kind of backing them to go through.
Yeah.
No, I want Turkey to go through as well out of Turkey and Switzerland, but I think Switzerland have the better spine.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, Group B looks a lot more even to me when I'm just reading the names. You've got Denmark, Finland, Belgium, Russia. I mean,
Ooh.
Belgium sticks out already as the group winner.
Denmark as well.
Denmark, I don't really
They
think
have
Denmark are that
Schmeichel,
impressive.
Eriksson. They have
Yeah.
some okay players which can go through.
They,
Who do Finland have? The geezer who plays for Norwich. What's his name?
Timo
Bogason.
Pukki.
That guy,
Timo
yeah,
Pukki.
that filthy guy.
Yeah. No, Finland are like an all-time high with their nation. I don't think they've ever been this good as a team. And correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they just beat France?
Yeah,
Was it
2-0.
not
Yeah,
just
they
the other
did,
day?
yeah.
Yeah,
I just said
It was
that.
in friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dad, I didn't
Oh,
catch
sorry.
that. But I think, to be honest,
Come on, man.
there's definitely a dark horse potential in that group. And I think, you know, when you talk about the third best placed team, I know we said let's not talk about it, but I think it could come from this group.
Imagine
Um,
Finland win the Euros. Come on.
Russia's an interesting one because they had a pretty respectable showing in the World Cup. I know that they hosted it, and there was all these allegations that they looked fitter than the other team with PEDs and all that kind of thing.
It always
It's,
comes with Russia, though, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah.
Russian athletes, man.
Yeah, but they say the same about Japan and Korea when Korea went to the semi-finals and got
Oh,
thrashed
that
out.
was
to
a
the-
whole- that's a whole
wasn't
conspiracy
about,
and a scandal.
Yeah, that wasn't about
Not about
performance and
doping,
that,
but
yeah.
more about referee match fixing, wasn't it?
So you
You
know,
could believe it, you know, when you watch those highlights, you could believe it.
Yeah.
It
we
could
could
be one
talk
of the-
about that on
yeah.
another podcast, I guess.
The Football Conspiracy podcast will coming soon. Now, for me, I think when you look at that, you've got to give it to Belgium and Denmark. I think you're right. The two teams that jump out. Finland and Russia definitely aren't going to be like pushovers, though. It's anyone's group.
Mhm.
Now, Group C, the Netherlands, Ukraine, Austria, and North Macedonia qualifying for their first ever
Ooh.
international tournament. Is that just going to be a participation award for North Macedonia, do you think? Are they just going to be there to lose?
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think like Hungary in that group.
Is it, you know, Goran Pandev, he's still playing football.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Goran Pandev, and he's
He's
like,
got respectable numbers, isn't he? For is it Genoa that he's playing at now?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Serie A is just an ageless league, isn't it? You can be like,
I mean, look at-
Ibrahimovic, 39,
yeah, exactly.
still
Prime
dominating.
example.
I think the Netherlands are finally on an upswing because they had a few dark years, didn't they? They didn't make, was it the Euros and the World Cup consecutively? They didn't make them. And you just never would
Yeah, no,
associate
you're
it
right,
with the
yeah.
Netherlands.
Yeah, Netherlands didn't make.
Obviously, they lost
2018
it's still a
and
rebuilding
2018.
job.
Losing Koeman and getting De Boer in, though, is that going to be a
Yeah,
bit of
Frank
a
de Boer.
hammer blow for them?
It might be, but I think they were.
At least Coleman's a bit more organised. The boys a bit clueless.
But they've actually benefited, like probably the most team that's benefited from this whole pandemic, which sounds weird to say, because they've got a lot. They had a lot of
Yeah.
injured players that would have missed 20.
Depay was set to miss it with the ACL,
Yeah.
wasn't he?
Van Dijk's
Oh
going
no,
to
he
miss
had
it as well.
he made the return in
Well,
time.
they could
actually.
make it back before next summer.
Yeah, but is
Yeah.
he going to be the same Virgil van Dijk
They
what he
won
was?
3-1
I think he'd
against
still take him on
Bosnia.
the plane.
And the way that they played football, they made Bosnia. I mean, there's a few times where Depay actually got like fouled after he's given the ball away. I mean, they passed the ball away, and they made Bosnia look like little kids. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, it's not hard to smash Bosnia. The Bosnian football's not in a good state. Yes, they've got Pjanic and Dzeko, but
And
They were stronger in
Kolasinac,
2014.
don't forget him, man.
Kolasinac.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll move on to Group D. Sorry, actually, let's get some predictions on that one. So, Netherlands, Ukraine, Austria, and North Macedonia. Who's your two?
Netherlands and Ukraine.
I agree.
Ukraine.
Shevchenko's doing a good job there, man.
Austria somehow turn up at a tournament and do well, though. They don't always look impressive, but
Wait,
they seem to have respect.
Because they don't have the B-Tech Zlatan, what's he called?
Arnautovic, yeah, the
Yeah.
B-Tech Zlatan.
And then they have, what's his name?
Shaqiri?
I do-
No,
oh,
Shaqiri
no,
plays for
Swiss.
Switzerland.
Oh, I'm on about.
Alaba. Is
Getting
Alaba not
I'm getting
Austrian?
the wrong country in the
Alba's
arse.
Austrian, isn't he?
Alaba's Austrian,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
And they've got Valentino Lazaro, scorer of the Scorpion kick the other day, if anyone saw that.
Oh,
my
days. Unbelievable
You-
stuff.
Man, that guy used to be in Newcastle on loan. What the heck? That's crazy.
He did all right. It's just Newcastle don't know a good thing when they've got it, so
I thought you did
didn't
really
play him
well.
too
Yeah,
well. Yeah.
considering.
Now, for me, I think that a toss-up between Ukraine and Austria, and Ukraine's probably in the better shape, and like I say, they've got a nice story with Shevchenko as manager. So that'll be an interesting group to keep an eye out. The next one is more of a home nations group. England, Croatia again, Scotland and the Czech Republic. Bit of an open group, but I think you'd fancy England maybe. Well, I didn't say top that because Croatia's in there, but England and Croatia jump out
Well,
as the two.
England-
Definitely.
Do you know on
Croatia aren't
transfer-
as good as they were in 2018. A lot of their team is aged. and
Look, put
they're
some
looking a bit
respect on
slow.
Dejan Lovren's name, right?
I know,
Champions
as a
League
Liverpool
finalist,
fan-
the World Cup finalist. Don't disrespect
No,
him.
but
No, but you have to admit Croatia aren't where they were in 2018.
Nah, they want the
No.
team's aging.
Yeah.
Rebic was one of their best players for the 2018 World Cup, and now he's He's not.
He's
No,
doing all right for Milan.
No, but you remember, look, a Croatian team's aging. Are they going to have the physical style to go against other teams?
Yeah, Perisic has gone.
Yeah, I'd back England over Croatia these days.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
Can the
But-
Scottish do any good in this tournament?
Man,
do you
I
think?
don't give a stuff about the Scottish right now, man.
Oh, Ryan Christie's playing well.
Forget-
Great
them.
story. Like, did you see the interview with Christie after
Yeah.
they made it? Through?
Yeah, it's fantastic for them.
Heartwarming.
Crying every time. So what you call it? On transfer market, England are worth are rated the how can I say it?
Their team
most
is valued the
valuable
most,
team.
yeah.
Out of all the
Just based
nations
on the
out there.
the players that
Just
are
the
being called up,
players.
their transfer value.
I don't know, obviously because it's
Yeah.
English and you add about 50 mil on it.
Yeah, man.
70 mil, not 50, man.
Sean
Freaking
Longstaff
hell.
completed one pass against Burnley, and he was rumoured to for a 50 million move.
To Manchester
That's-
United.
So for
I mean,
I
I
wish
do agree
Newcastle
the
took
English
that
premium.
deal.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
I can
you
imagine,
you
I can
raise a good
imagine
point,
some
though.
agent saying, I've got this knockoff version, his little brother, do you know what I mean, made in China.
But for what you say about England, it's good to mention the squad value because they do seem to have a better talent pool than ever, really. I mean, maybe there's a bit of weakness in midfield, would you say? When you think about
Yeah,
the likes of
definitely.
Harry Winks, can someone tell me how Harry Winks plays football for the
It's a
international?
weakness in the dugout.
He's like Spurs' version of Jesse Lingard.
He's
definitely
like a
is.
Michael Carrick for Spurs.
Hey, Michael Carrick was infinitely
Michael
Michael
more
Carrick was
talented.
quality. What are you on about?
He
This
does
guy's a
lot.
Manchester United fan. He doesn't know nothing about Manchester United players.
Come on, man. Michael Carrick was the type of guy that you just, he was always on the team sheet, but you never really saw what he did.
I don't know
Look,
about
that's
that.
James
Harry-
Milner. That's not
Harry-
Michael Carrick. Get it
Harry
right.
Harry
It's
Winks
definitely
is
better than
similar.
Winks, though. Definitely
Oh,
better.
yeah.
than Winks.
The type
Come
of
on.
passing that
Obviously,
Carrick was
yeah.
capable of, Winks dreams about it and then doesn't do it on the training pitch.
No, come on, man. He's
That's the
all right. He's not
What do
that
you guys
bad.
make of Southgate recently then? Like from where
What do you mean?
everyone was singing his
The-
name in
well-
2018 and like the waistcoat memes, but now it seems like people are turning on him. They're getting a bit frustrated with
Yeah,
the lineups.
he has to hang
I've
up the
seen him with
waistcoat.
that Italian article, the lining of the.
Nah, but like everyone now, like whenever the
I
people
don't
are
know,
angry
what-
before
what
the game
about-
even
what-
starts.
what-
now
what's
with the
happened?
lineups.
What's happened? Why?
Just the lineups he's putting out.
I just think also people on top you with the five at the back. They think
Yeah, the
England should,
insistence with
should
five
go
at the
for the
back.
throttle a bit more.
Well, look, Gareth Southgate has tried a few different things with England, and obviously he's trying to put his imprint on it. The players and the way they play and the way that they've adapted with their clubs, he's trying to like play around that.
Not
And
just that, though.
he's had a few things. Remember when obviously I keep bringing up the love train because it was class and it worked, and I wish more teams would do the love train, but it did work, and we started scoring a lot
No,
of
but
set
the
pieces.
thing is with England, their limitations always show, and even now with Southgate, their limitations always show.
Right. Southgate's not doing a bad job. He's just got a crap defence. He has to cover it. Have you seen how bad Slabhead is? Like, he's horrendous.
yeah, he's not great.
I think that's an emotional point of view. I
That's
think
not emotional. Like,
he looks okay in an England shirt, I have to say.
He's very suspect. So sometimes Michael Keane.
But
If you
still,
look at the defenders
what
England have,
happened-
they're
what
not that
happened
good.
in the last match? Like he got sent off, and Gareth Southgate didn't even look at him.
Oh, that was in the previous international break, yeah.
It was like, oof.
Well, for me, I'm going to definitely put England and Croatia as the top two.
Yeah, I think it's.
And
easy.
we're having
Scotland is a dark horse.
no one said a thing about the Czech Republic, so we're like, they're fourth. They won't even play in the tournament. No one's mentioned the Czech Republic.
They used to have a decent team back in the day, but
Two
Who
more
are the Czech Republic?
two more groups. Group E, which is Spain, Sweden, Poland, and Slovakia. Now, Spain group winner there. I mean, Sweden, Poland, and Slovakia feel like three very equivalent level teams.
I think Poland might even top it. I think Poland's a good
Poland
team.
topping the group. They are not. They're not a pretty international team.
Yeah. I think
Yes,
Sweden-
they've got the greatest
Sweden could be
striker
a
out
dark
at the
horse.
moment with Lewandowski, but that's not enough. There's the Polish team. I feel
No,
like they've had better periods recent years.
They've got decent players there. They've got that geezer in midfield plays for Napoli. I can't even remember his name now.
Zielinski.
That guy, yeah, that filthy animal. Yeah, he's good.
He's just a player I've seen on FIFA but never seen in real life, so I can't really.
I know he was rumoured against, going to Liverpool. Obviously, he went to Napoli and he's played against Liverpool quite a few
Yeah.
times. So
yeah,
I've seen him in action.
Chesney in goal.
I think it's-
I would
Bednarek
back
in
Sweden.
the
Yeah,
back.
I would give it to the
Yeah, I would
Swedes.
back Sweden.
Yeah.
I'm backing the Polish.
They were also the
Milik as
only
well.
other team to beat France since they won the World Cup in a competitive game alongside Turkey. They beat them in the Nations League last year. Do
I
you
mean,
remember?
if Slovakia call up Martin Dubravka, they could definitely get somewhere with that one.
What dupes?
Sorry, what was the question you just asked?
No, I'm saying Sweden because they're alongside Turkey, as we mentioned,
Yeah.
the only other team to beat France in a competitive fixture
Oh,
since
yeah,
they
I
won the
see.
World Cup.
Yeah.
You remember the
They-
Nations
Wait,
League last year?
who does Sweden have except Forsberg? Who else is there? Is it Lindelof Swedish?
Yeah, Lindelof,
Yeah.
Swedish.
Yeah.
Right,
They
so-
have like a good.
So they're out because Lindelof's
But
crap.
it-
So
Is-
he can't defend.
Is
The Liverpool fan is
Zlatan
showing in
coming-
you tonight, like-
Is he coming back then? There's rumours of him.
Zlatan, I don't think he wants to.
Nah.
I think he's just teasing, to be honest.
I don't think you should come back anyways. It's not good for a Swedish team.
Zlatan does not tease. I think he's very straightforward. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, when you talk about who Sweden have got, let's just look at their most recent lineup, see if there's any, diamond stars in there. Marcus Berg is a very average striker. Oh, Dejan Kulusevski, the Juventus winger.
Oh.
He's a very
Yeah.
hot prospect at the moment.
That could change things.
Sebastian Larsson is still playing in the international team. He must be like 43 by now.
Does he play for still?
He must just be on free kick duty.
Man, I used to love watching his free kicks, man.
You
I mean,
love
he
watching
did-
a Mac and playing for you're from
he-
Newcastle.
What the heck?
Let's be honest, that's on phone for doubt.
Wow.
What?
That's such a Dowd thing to do.
Nah, man. I'm talking about when he used to play for Hull and Birmingham City.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you are.
Yeah, not for Sunderland when he was
Sod
a free
Larsson.
transfer.
The only
And he
Larsson
played
we love is
203
Henrik Larsson,
games.
right? Just to make that clear.
Ex-United player.
And ex-Barcelona player, and
to be
ex-Celtic
honest,
player.
Looking through the Sweden squad, I know that they seem to be respectable on the international stage, but there's not much there. Alexander Isaac from Real Sociedad is a good striker, but there's not enough in that team, I don't think. Yeah, you'd probably...
Fair
You
enough.
could give it to Poland or Slovakia, to be honest.
Yeah.
It should be an
Second
interesting group to watch. But I think this is a result of the expanding format of the Euros, where a lot of the
Yeah.
teams that probably wouldn't have made it are now, in these
Yeah,
groups
for sure.
together.
I mean, just to round it up with the last group, the appropriately named Group F with Portugal, France, Germany, and then poor old Hungary complete the set.
France and Portugal
Group
for me.
fucked.
Group.
France and Portugal for
really?
me. Yeah.
Well,
I'm really impressed by those two teams when you watch
The
them.
I
way
would-
Portugal play a class.
considering that Hungary's going to get whipped by everyone, those three teams will probably end up going through.
Yeah, that's what I was
Uh,
gonna say. I think Germany will probably
yeah.
end up going through.
So to be
anyway.
honest, that kind of is a very downer on the format,
Exactly,
because
yeah.
you had a potential of a giant
Yeah.
leaving the groups, but now you just think they're going to go through anyways.
No, are they though? Because
Yeah, but they go through playoff, isn't it?
yeah.
No, it's.
No,
Is that not how it
I
works?
believe they just it's a best four best placed teams in the third place. I know that sounds really weird. I'll rephrase that.
It's
The
the
four
four
third best placed teams.
Yeah, they'll all go through. Who cares about Group F?
Yeah.
Hungry or
Just want to see
I'll
some
see
good
it.
matches, really.
Yeah.
So who tops that? France, Portugal, and Germany. Who tops that?
France tops it for me.
I don't think. I think
and then
Portugal tops it.
Portugal.
Even though they lost against France
That's
just
2
recently.
3 6
But-
2 3s and 1 6, man. I don't think they know that they need to do enough to get past that stage. They'll start playing the youngsters, man. They're going to rest the
Yeah.
players up so much. It's the long game, isn't it?
I don't think they will. I think with Hungary in the group and the other teams also in there, they'll probably look at Hungary and think we need to smash these. They're shy.
Yeah, for Hungary, I can't see any good players apart from that Dominic Szoboszlai.
Yeah, nailed it.
Yes.
My
Um,
guy.
But yeah, he's class on FM. If anything, that's to go by. Do you know what I mean? The last 2 seasons.
It feels like Red Bull Salzburg just have this amazing player every season, who will then move on to a big team and do well.
Oh, they have a great scouting team around the world.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Thinking
End it though. Who do you think will actually win the whole tournament?
the
So,
Euros.
yeah. Let's get our predictions. And we'll figure out a reward for whoever wins.
I'm going to make a bold prediction right now. Portugal going to do back to back,
Back to back.
Oh,
like Drake.
they'll need to call up Ede for that. I think I'm gonna go with France, and it's such an easy pick and an obvious pick, but I can't see any other winner than them.
do the easiest and obvious picks always win though?
Well,
That's
that's my prediction.
Oh, they did it in 2018.
Tell us yours then, Dowd.
Yeah.
Is it going to be England?
I'm gonna say England.
3 lions on the shirt.
I'm gonna say England. It's coming home.
0 years of hurt after they win it.
After 2020, I need something to believe in, so it's
Yeah.
coming home.
Yeah, England.
You want to say yes, but
I
you
want
know
to
that,
say England,
yeah.
right? And but we have to kind of be realistic as well. Do you know what I mean? I think it's luck, isn't it? At the end of the day, like we could have another 66.
Not all luck though.
I mean, every time I go into a tournament, I'm like, yeah, England are gonna like absolutely smash out the park.
I mean, they should progress past the group at least.
Oh yeah, hopefully not do.
Look,
Roy Hodgson.
Iceland's not in it, so
Yeah, not do.
England
Roy
are okay.
Hodgson. That clap from Iceland, that just
The thing is, though, now with the Euros, I wonder if it's going to be in time with crowds. Like, will crowds be back allowed by then?
I hope
Ooh,
so, man.
that might make a big
International
difference. Yeah.
International
It
football
would be
without
a
crowds would be
terrible
terrible.
shame.
where's that
International-
actually being hosted? It's not in a specific
Well,
country, is it?
to be fair, I know this was going to be the Euros with all the cities, wasn't it? And now they're talking about not changing the whole setup, but I think I
Revamping it a
heard,
bit.
I heard the rumor the other day that it was going to be set maybe just in the UK, which would be very interesting.
What the
Oh
heck?
no way!
If that's the case,
Nothing solid, but
That's class,
just
you
as a
know.
rumor, really.
No,
Yeah.
I actually really I remember when it was announced ages ago. I think I might have been in a uni lecture when I read that the Euros were announced that
In
there was
multiple
gonna be-
cities.
multiple cities,
Yeah.
and everyone was like on their reactions hated it. I absolutely loved the idea.
I
to
love
be
that
honest.
idea as well.
I thought it was a great way to celebrate the history of the competition.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
wait, is it just for this competition?
Yeah, it was just a one-off because I think it's a
right.
special. Is it the 50th? No, not the 50th. So
I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure.
I kind of like the idea of, like, you know, where they go into the tournament and you find out more about the country and
Yeah,
all that
I'm
aspect.
with
I
that
really
as well.
like
It's
that.
not that it's a bad idea, but I much prefer like focusing on a host nation or a host two nations
Yeah,
and getting to know their culture and the features that they always do.
inspires them to do better as well.
Well, I don't know about that. You can talk about the negative ramifications of hosting a tournament. You can
7-1.
talk about not just that, but the South Africa story as well. But
true.
that's a deep topic that we could actually speak about it in some future podcasts. We'll see. But I think this one is run its course for today.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for joining me, lads. And as always, don't forget to check out the socials. You've got the Dressing Room 9 on Twitter and Instagram, and the YouTube channel is just the Dressing Room. And Dowd, if you'd like to plug where they can listen to the podcast.
Yeah, you can go on Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and more. I did say on the last episode to give us a rating, and if you could give us a rating on all the ones that you can do, and if you could email us on thedressingroom9@gmail.com with any feedback, suggestions, comments, we'd love to hear. And I'll hopefully be releasing a few of the episodes on YouTube, and you can obviously get in touch with us in the comment section there as well. So yeah, thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks a lot, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.